Yeah, amazing that such a big number. I think I also saw that the Dallas Cowboys were valued at $4 billion or something like that as well. So for a brand like the Dallas Cowboys and the UFC to be valued the same just shows you the power of what's happened to MMA and you know, all the credit that they've built over the years. And look, we're happy to be, you know, part of the sport and building our brand at World Series of Fighting. And we think it's just great for the sport
to be, you know, bought for that kind of amount and to be compared to the NFL. I mean, it's just huge for the sport. Huge for us, huge for any MMA company out there.
It sounds silly. My mother, my sister, friends of mine that I've just known, they're all sending me notes saying, can you believe that, you know, the UFC was bought for $4 billion? And I remember one of the texts specifically was like, I had no idea that MMA was that important. It's like, yeah, it is. I mean, you've got, you know, 2, 3, you know, fights on almost a week now, which would be the same as, you know, NASCAR or the PGA Tour or, you know, even a weekly, you know, a couple of weekly football games. So it really is amazing to see, you know, where it's come. We're almost 4 years old. That's it. You know, the UFC's been around for, you know, 20 years. We're building. We're doing, you know, Ray's doing a great job with fighters. We've now got, you know, folks like Marlon and Gaethje and others that are ranked in the top 10 in the world. They've been developed, you know, literally from day one all the way through. You know, in the case of a guy like Gaethje, he hasn't lost. And I think we've developed all those fighters. I think that's a big part of the World Series of Fighting brand. So no, I don't think we think about it so much as, you know, are we worth $1 billion? You know, I think the UFC is the NFL of the space, and they've provided us an opportunity to have great partners like NBC and IMG, that we're building World Series of Fighting into a great brand. And that's what the fans are, you know, I mean, Ray's got the biggest social following anywhere, and that's what the fans tell us all the time.
We've said this from day one. You know, if the UFC didn't do such an amazing job of what they do, we probably wouldn't have the opportunity to do what we do. So for us, it's not thinking about, hey, listen, one day we want to be worth $1 billion. But right now, we just want to grow and help all the fighters out there that doesn't have a home. And we're going to continue to do what we do.
What's the outlook now? Is it to grow more in-house fighters, or is it to go after the free agency, or both?
I think it's a bit of both. You know, and I think Brock Lesnar said it right. You know, without the talent, you don't have anything, right? So for us, it's a bit of both. You know, some of the senior guys have been around and made a name for themselves, and some of the guys that we're growing. And Justin Gaethje is a guy that we grew from day one, and he's still undefeated. He's undefeated as an amateur. He's undefeated as a pro, and we still haven't found a guy that's you know, that can contest that title.
The thing that we want to stay authentic to is that every time someone gets in the cage, and look, Ray tells this to all the fighters before every fight, you know, bring everything you've got. You're on national television, right, and, you know, really, you know, show the world that you're, you know, a great athlete that's a great fighter. And I think that's the cornerstone for World Series of Fighting. So we want to make sure that for whoever we sign, they understand that that's what they got to bring to this promotion.